What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Plant the Seed. I'm Nathan, and that is still Cameron. We're still here. We're still your host. Lucky you.
Or not.
Or not. Yeah, I guess it really depends on who you ask. So, Cam, how you been?
I've been all right. How are you? I'm just like, I'm really tired.
My week's been absolutely insane. I woke up yesterday to get ready for work. I ran out of socks in my drawer upstairs, so I had to run down to my laundry room to get socks. And it must have just been God because I got down there and I started hearing dripping water, and found out that my water heater broke, and was flooding a section of my basement. So
Oh,
I,
that's sad.
I spent my day having to replace the water heater, but it was good. It's fixed now. I got hot water. I can shower, my monthly shower now, which is great. So, but no, I take more than a monthly shower. I'm just kidding. But I'm going to jump right into this one because I have been very excited to give this quiz question answer reveal.
So good.
You want to go ahead?
Julianne asked me about it, and
Yeah.
I'll before I reveal it, our youth pastor Brad's wife Julianne, we did a Zoom call with the seniors. There's only three of us, and she asked me about it, and she wasn't disgusted, but she was surprised, and then Gracie's face was she was just barfing. She was gagging when I was talking about it. It's kind of gross. The question was what are chainsaws actually made for? What was the original purpose? Hint, not for cutting down trees. And the answer is they were actually made for childbirth surgeries. So it wasn't even a blade of metal. It was a wooden crank, and they would just crank it to cut open the woman to take out the baby. And it's kind of gross, but it's hilarious.
I mean, the thing about that is if you don't get somebody who's really good at cranking the chainsaw, crank, and you're having to go back and forth with it, oh my gosh, no. I told somebody the answer a little early because I was talking to someone, and they were like, well, what happens if you don't make it through the first time? I was like, I guess you got to do it a second time. I don't know. But no. And if you guys there are photos online. I honestly didn't believe it was a real thing, but this thing is legit. You can find photos online if you just Google search I think I looked up 1830s chainsaw, and it's a photo of the first one, and it just looks awful. It's not good.
Yeah, so. I just took the word for it because I didn't want my eyes to have to see that.
No bueno. All right, so I'm excited today because, I mean, you guys have heard us talk a whole lot, but if you guys weren't able to watch this week's video for Beacon Baptist students, I think it was May. I don't even know. Do you remember what date it was? Last Wednesday, May something.
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't know the days anymore.
I don't even care. Every day's a Monday for me, but
yeah. Same.
But Micah Wright actually went through and gave the lesson for everybody, which was awesome. And I play a lot of games with him and stuff. I've spent probably well over 24 hours of collective time or more playing Sea of Thieves. Just ravaging all of the other kids on the games, taking all of their treasure and having no regrets whatsoever. But I messaged him, or we were playing a game, and I said, oh my gosh, hey Micah, wouldn't it be amazing if we could get you on the podcast? And I was like, we should just do it this day. And he goes, well, yeah, that sounds like fun. So we have a special guest. We have Micah.
What's up?
Yes, the speaker himself has joined us.
He's been so busy this week. He put together a devotional for a devotion group that I have, and then he did one for Brad, and then now he's here.
What's up? I'm here.
What a guy.
How's your week been, Micah?
It's been, clearly, like you just said, it's been busy, but it's been good. I haven't had any homework to do for my school, so honestly, it's a win. It's a win.
You're finished almost, right?
Almost. I have a week and a half left.
I got you.
And this week we just take like these NWEA tests, which are basically like to see what you know, and you just take 2 of them a day and then you leave. So we're only there for like 2 hours.
Man, that would be a fun video. Cam, like you take the test that he's taking, I take it, and all 3 of us will take the test and see who gets the higher score. I can guarantee you it will not be me.
Yeah, I take the NWEA stuff at my school too, and thank God I'm a senior and I never have to take them again because I did not like them. I mean, I did good at them, but they're just annoying because you don't even get graded.
Yeah, this is my last year to take them. I don't have to take them after this year.
I hate any test anymore. I did one like in high school where it said take this. I think it's like an aptitude test or something that tells you this is what you should do in your life. This is the best job for you. I took it and I was really confident, and I'm hearing all my friends like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a movie star," or "Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be a writer." Mine straight up said I was gonna be a garbage man.
Oh no!
And I was
Wow.
like, what did I do? Not that there's anything wrong with being a garbage man and stuff. I actually hear they make good money, but
Dude, yeah.
I was like, what answer on the test gave you the idea that I love trash?
It could have said McDonald's worker though, so I guess
That's true.
you got it better.
I thought it was supposed to encourage me as a student, though. I was pretty defeated after that one.
Yeah, I thought the whole point of going to school is them to encourage you to do whatever you want.
You can do anything that you put your mind to, except for you, Nathan. You will work with trash. But so, just so that the audience can get to know you a little better, who may not already know you, we've put together some random questions for you, Micah, that we're hoping you'll answer for us here.
All right,
Does that sound good?
definitely.
Okay. Here we go. If you could have any superpower, what is one superpower you hope you don't have, and why?
I don't know. I probably would have want like super strength. Like I feel like a lot of people would, but I would get in the way of a lot of things if I had super strength, because my bulging muscles would be breaking everything. I'd much rather
Yeah.
fly or turn invisible or something rather than just be really big and be a massive target.
Can you imagine trying to fly with somebody who had like super strength? Would you have to limit the plane to only a certain amount of people?
Yeah, probably.
Have you ever wondered to yourself though, like super strength in general, like does that actually add a ton of mass to the person, or are they like 50 pounds yet can lift a ton of stuff?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
So like if Mr. Incredible got into an elevator, would he reach the maximum capacity weight limit by himself?
Yeah, he's just a big
Yeah.
guy.
He's just a big guy. But like Hulk is like strong and heavy.
Hulk is indestructible as well.
That's true. But like
That's different.
if you have, so what's the difference between Hulk and his super strength that increases his mass, where he's like making big holes on the ground when he steps, versus Mr. Incredible, who just lives his average life and can lift the same?
Because Hulk can turn into a smaller human. Mr.
that's
Incredible is forever big.
I feel
But
like
I don't know.
I feel like they missed something in the superhero world there. Like, are they heavy or are they not? I'd like to know.
Yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to doing after quarantine?
Going to Great Lakes Crossing Mall and going to the arcade.
I want
That is
to go.
the-
so
that is the
bad.
thing I'm looking
Yes,
forward to
I haven't
the
been there
most.
in like 10 years.
Have you gone to the arcade yet, Cam?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the last time I went to Great Lakes was like to see Dark Knight Rises when that came out in like 2012.
Nice. We go to this arcade out there. It's got so many things. And the sad thing is, though, is that you know it's going to be like one of the last things that quarantine is going to open, because there's so many
yeah.
little kids
And-
and
yeah.
their hands all over the little joysticks.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's going to be big germs. But I'm
Oh,
okay
yeah.
with it. All right, if you could have any animal as a pet, but that animal would bite you at least once, what animal would you want?
My dream pet is to have a mop dog.
A mop
You know what those look like? I think it's called like a commandor. It's a big dog, and it just looks like a mop. And if I got bit by it, it's just like getting bit by one of my dogs that I have at home. So I would take that any day.
You could like strap some Swiffer cleaner on them and just let them run across the floor.
That's such
Yeah.
a good idea. I
You
should totally do that.
Get one of those baby costumes that has like the mop on it too. It's a whole mop family.
Oh no.
Oh my word! Hey Cam, what if you could have any animal, but you would get bit by that animal at least one time, like only once? What animal would you want?
Question: is the bite fatal?
Answer: no.
A lion. That's my favorite animal for sure.
Oh, okay.
Seeing, because like in reality, I would be scared that the lion's gonna bite me. But if I already know it is going to bite me and I'm not gonna die from it, I'd love a lion.
Okay, there you go.
Sick.
I don't know what animal I would want. I've always wanted a monkey, but I hear they're a lot to take care of.
But they're very smart.
Right. And at the same time, I also feel like I already have a bunch of monkeys because I work with all the
Alright.
teens at the church. So,
That's a low blow, Nathan.
Yeah, they're like humans, but more high maintenance because they have more hair.
I don't know. Some of them are pretty hairy.
Yeah. But I mean, if the monkey learns, monkeys can take care of themselves as well. Like, have you seen
Yeah.
the ones where they're taking their own baths or brushing their own teeth or something?
They're like more clean half the time than most humans. Like,
Yeah.
so we could learn a lot from the apes. But yeah, I think that either a monkey, which I feel like their bite wouldn't be too bad. I definitely wouldn't want a bat. I hear their bites cause problems. Always cause
Yeah.
issues. Stupid COVID.
It's even worse if
Oh, I
if
get
you
it.
bite the bat.
Mike is back with us. Hello, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead. I was looking up some current events. I found two, and I feel like they're both worth talking about. And one is from Florida. I love when I find Florida news. Like, I feel like that just needs to be its own segment on this podcast. Just Florida
Oh, yeah.
news. But the first current event I found online was one that is actually called. So when this podcast releases, this is another active current event that you could get involved with. It is a Stepping on Legos challenge for charity. I read the title and I was like, no. And then I looked at the photo and I was like, no. And then I read it was for charity and I was like, no. So basically what it is, Codwell Children, which is a charity, they basically provide support for children with disabilities. So like emotional support as well as physical support. But this year, the charity is actually looking for people who want to willingly walk on Legos on May 31st and then like share the videos of them walking on Legos. Apparently, it's supposed to help people learn willpower and the power to overcome obstacles. I don't know how I feel about
It's a
it.
very interesting way to provide that, I guess.
I don't
like-
really know what they're trying to make aware.
Yeah. But I mean, Legos is getting free advertisement, so.
That is very true. And it's just going to increase the price of Legos, so thank you.
No.
That's the real charity. It was never
Yeah.
actually for the children. It was to increase the price of your Legos.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
But Cam, like, is this something that you feel like you'd willingly do?
Step on Legos? Never. I've done it before on accident. I would never do it on purpose.
What's even crazier, they said that they were going to release a safety video on how to safely step on your Legos at home.
There's
Is
no
there
safe.
even
It
a
is
way?
certain death.
I don't even know.
I would never.
I have no idea. Like, I don't understand what the willpower you're overcoming there. Like, do something dangerous. It's good for your health. Step on those Legos.
I think there's a difference between being brave and just being stupid.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
Although, like, I'm not gonna lie, I will definitely be watching the videos of people stepping on Legos.
Oh, yeah.
and
I mean, I'll
laughing.
cringe and I'll like squint one of my eyes, but I'll watch it.
They were even saying like, do this as a family. Get your kids. Let's step on
They're
Legos.
like, this is like, they're trying to get a lot of people in on this, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
oh yeah. But I mean, the crazy thing is too, like, as a parent, I feel like I could use it as an example for my children to be like, kiddos, when you leave your Legos laying around, this is what it feels like. And and by the way, this is for charity. So
I'll do it as a
make
punishment
them
for
walk.
my kids whenever they mess up. Or like instead of spanking them, I'll make them walk on Legos.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
no.
torture, Cameron.
Oh goodness! Like timeout by standing on
Yeah.
Legos.
No, I'll just
Yeah.
make them do like one, like walking across like fiery rocks. I'll do that, but with Legos, they only have to do it once or twice instead of like me spanking them, because that's just boring.
I wonder if there's one Lego type, like shape of Lego or size of Lego, that is worse to step on than any of the other Legos.
Just the 2x3 brick.
Too bad. I was gonna say the
It's
saw.
terrible.
There's a Lego that is shaped like a saw for like specific sets, and if it falls with the teeth facing up, you're basically done for.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's bad.
Legos need to come with a bigger warning.
Yeah, the only warning they put is the choking hazard, but who's gonna like swallow the huge pieces that they put in there?
Who knows? Oh, I would hate to step on the saw. I have to agree. I think the only ones that I've stepped on have been like the little 2x3s or your classic
Yeah.
2x. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the 2x1 would suck too. Anything with the square edge, because like at least with the saw, if it's landed flat, I feel like I'd be okay. But it doesn't matter where the square ones or the rectangle ones land. You're gonna step on it and it's gonna hurt. Unless you take the Lego safety training. If you take that, you'll learn how to step on your Lego safely
Without being hurt. Yeah.
without being hurt. All right, so now my favorite. In weird Florida news. I love this one. I don't know how to introduce it, so I'm just going to say at least like a similar title to what I had seen. Messy peacocks overthrow a neighborhood.
Seems like Florida.
It seems like Florida. So basically, this small flock of peacocks was located in like small neighborhood in Florida, and that small flock of peacocks had a bunch of peacock babies, and now there's a bunch of peacocks.
Oh no.
And fun fact, apparently, it's mating season, so mating calls of these peacocks are everywhere. So many that the residents of the town are struggling to sleep at night, and they have to dodge all the poops in their yards everywhere. Like,
Jeez.
Florida, why? Cam, have you ever like been disturbed by a bird?
Like seagulls and pigeons, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Which Florida also has.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like story time. One time I was at Cedar Point and I was just like minding my own business, walking around, and a seagull or whatever it was landed not even a foot away from me, right in front of me, and I just turned around and sprinted all the way across the park because I was not dealing with it. And then it started walking towards me. I was like, nope.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, Cam was a
And then
little
it
messed
flew
up.
above me. I thought for sure it was going to poop on me.
I have been pooped on by a bird before. We were doing a walk at my school to raise money for our school, and I had stuck my arm out to point at something, and right as I stick it out, the poop lands on my arm,
Yeah.
and I had to go back to school and wash it off because it smelled so bad.
Aw.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like birds just do it because they're just monsters. They have the entire world that they could fly to a spot and they can poop. It's not like me. If I gotta poop, I can't just drop a deuce in the middle of Disney World. Like, I gotta go find a bathroom.
Yeah.
Why is it the birds, you got all this space, and they decide that looks like a good spot to just drop one?
Yeah, and our cars.
And the
They
cars.
choose the cars too. It's crazy.
It's like parking lots at some of, like if you stay at a hotel or something by the beach in Florida, and with all the seagulls and everything, you go inside and 5 minutes later you come out and your car looks like it snowed, only it's not snow.
It's
Oh, yeah.
definitely not snow.
No. You have to have scrapers in Michigan to get the snow off of your windows, but in Florida, it's a little different. Same scraper. Alrighty, everybody. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. And then when we come back, we're going to jump into segment 2, where Micah's going to talk about his own lesson, basically.
Oh, wow.
I know. He studied, and now he's going to have fun with it. Like, it's crazy. It's nuts. He's going to be able to tell this story forwards and backwards.
Basically.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Plant the Seed. You still got Cameron, you still got Nathan, you still have Micah. We haven't left. We're still here. So I don't know if you're happy or if you're disappointed, but we don't want to know either way because I'll feel sad if you're not necessarily happy. We're all still here, but all right. So for segment 2, we're gonna go ahead and kind of dive into just a quick summary of the story. If you're interested in reading the rest of this story, you can read it in Numbers chapters 13 and 14. Essentially, we're going back to kind of the Israelites. We talked to them, or talked about them, not talked to them. It'd be kind of interesting. I don't know how we do that, but we talked about them. Basically, like they're getting out of Egypt and then wandering in the wilderness, and how they basically haven't had faith in God this entire time, even though they have seen God the entire time. So this is kind of like wrapping up towards a little bit of the conclusion of their story. So here's our summary. After many years of travel, God has brought the Israelites to the land that he promised he would bless them with. After sending 12 spies to survey the land, 10 men return with doubt that God will fulfill his promises, and 2 remain faithful. When faced with the test of their faith, the Israelites doubt God again and end up losing the blessing of God due to their continual lack of faith. So I thought kind of a cool way to maybe take this lesson or take this Bible story is to look at that idea of tests or trials in our lives. And one thing that came to my mind when I was listening to this lesson or going through it is that, like, testing of faith doesn't come as a test you can overcome with your own capabilities. Like, I don't think it ever does. The test requires you to believe and have faith that God can overcome what you can't. So have you ever had a time where your faith was tested, where you tried to do it on your own rather than trust God? And what was kind of the result? Cam, do you have an answer for that one?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say I'm pretty strong in my faith most of the time. Like a couple of years ago, it was tested over the summer at camp with like a bunch of family stuff that happened, and it was definitely not smart of me to take it into my own hands and just like try to get over it myself instead of like relying on God to help me through it. And the result was obviously not great because I did not follow God at the time. Like, I still believed in him, but I was like, with this, what happened sucked. So I'm just going to like go away for a little bit and focus on myself and everything and like not care. So the result was not too good.
Sure.
For me, it'd probably be not too long ago. My grandpa was in the hospital. He had a couple strokes, and during that time, I was also going through school, and the corona had just started, the quarantine and everything, and I was. It was pretty crazy, and at the time, I wasn't really doing any personal devotions or praying, so I was just doing it on my own because I thought, oh, I can do it. I've been through busy life before. And the result was it didn't get better. Things got worse. It got busier. I felt more stuffed with things, and I was struggling more. So I just had to turn to God and trust him through it.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like a large majority of, like, my younger years were spent not necessarily having faith in God when I was being tested. I think a lot of times, like, when I've faced trials or tests, it's been like I try to give my own willpower in that situation, like, to overcome it, and I don't necessarily always give it over to God. And so there's been times where, I go ahead, I try something, it screws up, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, what in the world? Like, and it's ironic because, like, a lot of times when I get to that point, I like go ahead and I push away God because I want to do it my own way. And then when my own way doesn't go well, I blame God because somehow it was his fault in my mind, which doesn't make any sense. Like, didn't want to follow God before. Now I want to blame him because I didn't follow him, which just is kind of crazy. But I think we do that all the time as people.
Yeah, it's like really backwards, but we all do it.
Sure. So what were have you guys ever done something like on your own, I guess, that you thought you could do and it just like the result was just bad? It doesn't necessarily have to be necessarily like a test of faith, but just like a test of willpower, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say like around the same time, like with my faith being tested, like I was in like a really bad environment with like the people I was hanging out with, and it definitely influenced how I acted and like my general mood. So like, not only was I struggling with my faith and everything, but also just struggling to stay out of trouble. So when I've realized like when I tend to like drift away from God, things don't exactly go well.
Sure.
I tried to move my room around without help one time, and I was younger and I was really weak, and my dad was like, "You want help?" I was like, "No, I got this." And I was like 8, and I was trying to like move my bed,
Oh no.
and I like hit my wall and chipped the paint,
Nice.
and we had to repaint. And after that, I was like, "Hey, yo, Dad, I probably need your help." And so we ended up moving the room around. It was successful after loss of paint.
There you go. Well, I guess you were already moving the room around anyway, so you had it ready for paint.
There
I
you
guess
go,
it kind of
yeah.
worked out.
Yep.
Did you paint it a different color, or did you have to replace the same color?
No, so it happened to be a gray wall, and through basically my whole life, one of my walls has been gray, the same wall. So we just repainted it gray. So.
Okay, there you go. Nice. So one thing about test is like, I kind of feel like any time in life that like tests require an environment that is kind of like ideal to pass. So like you can't be in an environment where people are screaming or like
Yeah.
like middle of Detroit or whatever, where somebody's getting mugged outside, and you're like, this is a great environment to do my test in. Um, like we have to have a good environment to be able to pass. You guys, I don't know, Micah, you haven't done like the SATs or ACTs yet, right?
No, I'm too young.
Okay, but like Cam, you've definitely gone through those by now, right?
Yeah, and they were stressful.
They're already a stressful test. And then on top of that, the environment that they make for those tests are like a strict environment. Like you can't have anything in the rooms. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like they want you to fail. Like they go the whole year saying like, we're gonna practice this because we want you to pass. I'm like, you're lying to me because you like the layout of the room. You make it so we're all like depressed and we're automatically gonna fail. Like,
I don't want to be
you're
here.
sabotaging us.
It's just a scam. All the tests are scams.
Oh my goodness.
It's a scam.
So like I feel like our walk with God requires kind of like the same thing, and I think that's probably like especially with the Israelites too, where they created an environment where it was not helping them to pass, like it wasn't ideal. It was like no bueno. But if our environment isn't good, then our tests are going to be much harder to pass. So have you found times where like that's kind of the case for you, where you struggle more if your environment is bad?
Yeah, especially with a toxic environment. If you're around people who are just like, either they fight with each other a lot, or you just aren't all in unity. You guys have a lot of separation. It's really hard to be able to do something like that for sure.
Sure. Yeah, I think I relate to that one a lot. I hung out with a lot of people growing up who didn't necessarily go to church and didn't necessarily live any type of life other than just kind of getting involved with a lot of different things. And in the times where I faced tests or trials where I had to like make the right decision, it was a whole lot harder to make that right decision in an environment where it was like the environment was telling me not to. Like, Cam, have you been or found yourself in kind of like a messy environment where it made your test or trial tough?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like as you said, with like friends hanging out with. So especially like my first 2 years of high school, I was outside of school, not hanging out with like the greatest group of people, and so I would find myself in those environments making bad choices, and I can't like blame the other people for it because it was my choice, but like they would, I would say, nah, man, I don't really want to do this, and they would like call me a pansy and like, you should do it, man, it'll be fun. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Okay. Here I go.
Like I'm not gonna be made fun of by my friends. Now I don't really care about that. But
Sure, yeah, no, I definitely look back and I'm like, oh man, why, just why? One place where I feel like the environment, if you've got a bad environment, it can make for a really bad experience and probably a dangerous one too. But like your driver's test, if you're doing your driver's test and you get like I don't know, some person in your car who's doing your driver's test and that person just is having a bad day, that's the worst environment ever.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like you can go anywhere.
You can't run away. You're in a vehicle.
And the worst thing is like you can't even say anything because like they're the ones who literally are going to be giving you a grade. So like if you get in there and it smells like BO throughout the entire car, you just got to hold your breath. You got to act like they smell like roses and flowers because if you don't, fail. Over.
Basically.
It's rough. What are some other really bad environments for a test? Let's make a bad environment for a test.
Okay.
So like what's something that's super important where if something goes wrong, it's going to be bad. Let's say for example, okay, so if I'm in like Disney, most magical place on earth,
Of course.
and you have like that giant like the like Yeti mountain, Mount Everest, okay, and you've got like the giant Yeti in there that swings his arm down and stuff, and it's really scary and lots of fun. I'd really hate to be part of the test crew that's in an environment where I'm testing the arm on that robot to see if it's like high enough to not smack the cart, and then get distracted and whack.
You're right. You know, I've always, like, I know, like, they have test dummies that they put on the roller coasters, but aren't there, like, times where, like, they would send in real people to test the rides?
I feel like we should only use real people. So.
Yeah, you're right. If I had to be that real person to test the ride, yeah, that'd be some scary stuff.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, another bad environment for testing. Chernobyl.
Oh.
oh yeah,
Yeah. The radiation would kill you.
Wasn't that person a little distracted? Or
Yeah.
Cam, do you have any bad times for distractions?
like a situation or like a place.
Either or.
Well, I'll give like an example of some place you do not want something to go bad, and it definitely did. So I won't expose him, but a certain friend of mine from Beacon, we were in service one time, and in church you don't want to disturb everybody, and you definitely don't want to like mess up the preacher. The environment is very particular and like serious.
Mhm.
And we started like farting really loud,
What?
No.
and we were sitting in the top, like the back of the balcony, so it echoed through the whole sanctuary.
Oh,
And
no.
John Riley just looked. He didn't even come up to us after. He just like looked at Riley because he didn't really know me at the time because it was like my first year. But he looked at Riley and like just in disgust and disappointment. Like it wasn't really noticeable, but we could tell he definitely knew it was us.
So I'm kind of happy you said that, because I feel like if we're in a bad environment, we have the power, I think, or capabilities as human beings to either create a good environment for not just ourselves, but for those around us, or consequently a bad environment for those around us too. So like you pass gas and it smells really bad, it's already a bad environment for you, but it's a bad environment now for everybody else around you. And I feel like when we're talking about something like the Israelites, where they're in a bad environment, a large portion of why they're in that bad environment is they created it for themselves. Like, it wasn't like they were necessarily in a rough position. Like, they had allowed themselves to get so toxic and be around toxic people that they just lost a lot of their faith in God and created an environment where they really were going to struggle with being able to pass that test. But, I think a part of that, though, too, isn't just an environment. I think there's a lot of fear, like when we face tests or trials or things in life. I think a huge part of why the Israelites struggled was, I think that, oftentimes they felt kind of abandoned or alone or stuck, even though they always had a visual representation that they weren't. But I feel like Satan really uses fear to like hold us back from experiencing something amazing. But have you like ever initially feared something that when you tried it, found out you actually enjoyed it?
Yeah, I used to have a fear of flipping on trampolines because I thought I was going to break my neck every time.
I still have that fear.
And some of our friends, they have a big trampoline in their backyard, and they were teaching me things. And over time, I started doing it, and I actually really enjoy going on trampolines now. It's fun to me.
And you've not broken your neck.
I've never broken my neck.
Look at that. We're going to have to knock on some wood after this.
Yeah.
Cam, you got any?
Yeah. So I'm not exactly like a big risk taker, and I know it's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. It's for the comedy. But when I was a kid, my parents never ever taught me how to ride a bike. So my best friend from school taught me how to ride a bike at the young age of 17 years old. I'm almost a grown man. So this is about a year ago. I'm 18 now. So like a year ago, he taught me how to ride a bike, and I was terrified. And it ended up. And now at the age of 18, I know how to ride a bike.
Proud of you, Cameron.
Good job,
I was scared
Cameron.
for a while.
You
Yeah.
see,
It's a big step.
you're never too old to learn a new skill, even riding a bike.
Nope.
Yeah.
I used to be terrified of swimming. I didn't learn how to swim until I was like, I don't even know.
That's crazy because I know a lot of people who don't like swimming. They're like scared of the water.
Yeah.
And I get it's probably the drowning aspect, which makes sense because why wouldn't you be scared of drowning? But yeah, a lot of people have that. It's kind of cool, I guess.
I wonder what else people would fear though, like kids peeing in the pool. But I'm afraid to swim because of urine in the tanks.
Yeah.
I hate public pools because there's always like nasty little kids that pee in it. It's disgusting.
Dude. If you go to those public pools, sometimes you see a little log floating in the water. No lie. And you gotta get out of there before you get diseases.
We're all worried about corona and quarantining in a home, and yet we got logs floating in the pool.
Yeah.
Like,
Some kid just wanted to poop in the pool, and that's exactly what he did.
seriously. If birds can do it, though, if birds can poop on people, why can't I
That's what I'm
poop in the
saying.
pool?
If birds don't get arrested for pooping in public, why should we?
Oh, my goodness. We live in a messed up world, let me tell you. I can't wait for the time where I can poop in a public pool and not have to worry about embarrassment or being arrested.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my inspiration from the birds.
Oh, yeah.
Something I've been... Okay, so I initially had awful stage fright. And I hated talking, like, I guess in, like, public settings. Like, I've always liked talking to people. I've always been pretty sociable. But, like, when it came to being in front of people, I hated it. And for the longest time, I didn't do, like, any teaching. I didn't do any music. I didn't do any theater and stuff like that. So initially, like, I really was afraid of a lot of that stuff. And when I got a little older and I started doing theater and branching out, I found that I loved that. Now I never shut up. Like, I'm always like, now I help teach The teens, which was another thing I feared a ton. I was terrified of working with teenagers. Like, I honestly thought that I was gonna like break them all or something. It'd be awful.
Wow.
So, but no, I kind of gave in one day and was like, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. And now look at this.
Oh yeah,
Now I
I
can't
kind of
do it.
have
Look where you're at
stage
now.
fright as well.
I feel it's like it is. It's kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
definitely.
Brad asked me a few times to like. One time I preached in Vintage and one time in Revolution, and I told him the last time I did it in Revolution, I probably won't do it again. Like, it's, I like I didn't even want to do it the last time I did it, and I felt really bad for saying that I wasn't going to do it again. But it's like not because I don't want to do it, it's because I get so unbelievably nervous. Just like I'm friends with most of the people in the class, and I know they won't like make fun of me if I mess up, but I don't like to fail at anything. So the possibility of like messing up in front of people, I don't like. So I just don't like to do it.
Sure. But I feel like a lot of times when we're fearful about something, now don't get me wrong, there are times to be fearful and like not to do something because it's big dumb. Like, don't hop Harambe's fence. Like,
Yeah.
that would be bad. Don't jump in with the tigers. That would be bad. Like, don't try to be the Joe Exotics of the world. Let Joe Exotic be Joe Exotic. don't take his job.
Yeah.
But so don't, yeah, is a time to have a rational fear. Now, there I think are times though where if you would be surprised with how just branching out, and especially if you have a feeling that God is calling you to try something, if you feel that feeling and you're avoiding it because you're fearful of what will happen, I say go for it. I know that's like hard to do and very like it's not easy, but it is amazing like what God can use those situations to do out of what you initially was afraid of. So
Yeah. Definitely, like as you were saying, like being afraid to like talk in front of people, which I also am. But I was also like afraid to just talk to people in general. And so George from church, like a few years ago, he was like, "You should work at camp." And I was like, "I don't think I'm the best to work with a bunch of children at a summer camp because that requires like interacting with them and being active and like talking to people." And now I love the job, and I want to live there forever. It's amazing.
I wish we could go to camp this year though, but we can't.
Yeah,
They
they canceled camp for the summer. I'm gonna cry.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll try something.
Yeah. You were
Oh
telling
yeah,
me
we're
about
doing
that.
something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm hoping.
Don't tell me. I want to be surprised.
I couldn't even if I wanted to. I don't know
Oh,
what it is
okay.
either.
Well, in that case, easy job for you then.
I am excited though. I was originally not going to be able to help with camp because I had used all my time off for the mission trip, which also has since been canceled. So I have that time now that I can dedicate to like whatever else comes up. So I'm really stoked. I was pretty disappointed I wasn't going to be able to help out, but we'll see. It'll be fun.
I'm done.
Awesome. So, Cameron, it's your favorite part. It's your
Yes.
he loves his trivia.
The trivia question.
Okay, trivia. All right, guys. So, as we've talked about before, Nathan and I, and we're nerds pretty much. Yeah, we're nerds.
Yeah.
So, I have recently rewatched a show that I've only seen partial episodes of, like half of it, and so this weekend, like earlier this week actually, a new show came out on Hulu called Solar Opposites, made by the guys that made Rick and Morty. So I watched that. It was good. It was only like 8 episodes in season 1, but then I was like, well, I need more shows to watch, so I just watched Rick and Morty. It was beautiful. I'm in love. It's so good. Not for children. It's inappropriate. Don't watch it if you're below the age of like 16. It's not good, but it's amazing. And so the trivia question is a phrase from Rick and Morty. The phrase is "wubba lubba dub dub," which is now my catchphrase for life. I love it.
You gotta say it in that Rick and Morty, like that Rick voice though, where he just sounds so like out of it. Wubba lubba dub dub.
Dub dub. But
Uh,
you gotta say it like excitedly.
he gets so excited when he says it.
He's like wubba lubba dub dub.
Which is-
and he's usually like burping because he's drunk, but you know that's a different story.
It's ironic though with how excited he says the phrase, and I guess that's what the question is here. What does the phrase "wubba lubba dub dub" actually mean?
Yes.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah. You say it excitedly, but it is quite the opposite of how it sounds.
Maybe in like whatever alien language it comes from, the phrase, you know, what it actually means actually is a good thing. Maybe it's an alien race who actually enjoys this.
Yeah, I think it's the bird person race, or at least it's bird person that said what it meant in that one episode that you know he said what it meant, and I think it was at the party. He was like, it means this. I think it's in the bird person language, but
Nice.
it's definitely not what it sounds like.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to give the quiz question answer next week when we come back and we talk about some more. Micah, thank you so much for being willing to come and join us today. I
No
hope you
problem.
had fun.
It was fun, yeah.
Awesome.
Had a good time.
We'll have to pull you back on here another time too.
Sweet.
Do you have any closing words that you'd like to share with everybody?
Nope.
Awesome.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. There you go. Words of wisdom from Micah himself. All right, everyone. Until next time, remember to be different, do different. Thanks.